A Bugatti Veyron valued at $1.6 million rolled off a dock in Galveston, Texas on November 11, 2009, and sat submerged in the salt water of Lake Galveston for nearly 15 hours before a salvage crane pulled it out. The car's owner, Andy Lee House, told police he had swerved to avoid a low-flying pelican, but a bystander had already captured the entire plunge on a cell phone camera, and the footage showed the car rolling slowly off the road at barely 15 miles per hour, with no bird anywhere in frame. Within 48 hours, the video had been viewed more than 6 million times, and insurance investigators at Philadelphia Indemnity Exchange had flagged the claim as fraud. House had purchased the 2006 Veyron just 18 days before the crash, financing it with a $1 million loan, and had immediately taken out a $2.2 million insurance policy that exceeded what he had paid for the car by $600,000. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of Texas opened a case, and what began as the most famous single-car accident on the internet became the most thoroughly documented insurance fraud prosecution in the history of exotic automobiles. The Bugatti Veyron that went into the water that morning was powered by an 8-liter W16 engine producing 1,001 horsepower, fed by 4 turbochargers, and cooled by 10 radiators. It weighed just under 4,162 pounds dry, and was capable of reaching 253 miles per hour, making it, at the time of its production, the fastest street-legal car on Earth. Bugatti had hand-assembled it at its facility in Molsheim, France, where each engine alone required a week of bench fitting by a single technician, and every completed car underwent a final quality audit that took 3 full days. The retail price when the new in 2006 was $1.24 million, and Volkswagen Group, Bugatti's parent company, reportedly lost approximately $6.24 million on every unit sold, subsidizing each car as a rolling statement of engineering capability rather than a profit center. By November 2009, the used market value of House's specific car VIN ending 5762 had settled at approximately $1 million, which is exactly what he paid for it through a dealer in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. House's cell phone records pulled during the federal investigation showed he had searched for how to make a car accident look real and does insurance pay for water damage in the weeks before the crash. Surveillance footage from a gas station 2 blocks from the dock showed House driving past the turnoff to his stated destination, circling back and then accelerating directly toward the boat ramp. The Galveston police officer who responded to the scene noted in his report that the Veyron's engine was still running when the car hit the water, which meant House had not attempted to brake or shut the vehicle off. A marine mechanic who inspected the car after recovery found that the driver's side window had been lowered fully before submersion, consistent with a driver preparing to exit quickly, rather than a driver surprised by a sudden swerve. The salt water had flooded the cabin, trunk, and engine bay within minutes, corroding wiring harnesses, saturating the leather interior, and filling the intake system. By the time the car was craned out, the W16 engine had ingested enough brine to hydrolock 4 of its 16 cylinders. In February 2012, Andy Lee House pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Texas. He was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison, ordered to pay $579,514 in restitution to Philadelphia Indemnity, and forfeited any claim to the vehicle. The Veyron, now titled as a salvage vehicle with a federal fraud lien notation, was auctioned by the insurer through a wholesale channel. It sold for approximately $277,000, less than a quarter of its pre-crash value, to a Texas-based repair shop that specialized in high-value salvage rebuilds. The car was cosmetically and mechanically devastated. The salt had attacked the aluminum engine block, pitted the magnesium intake manifold, corroded the car's 11 electronic control units, and degraded the adhesive bonding on the carbon fiber body panels. A full Bugatti-authorized restoration would have cost well over $800,000 and required shipping the car back to Molsheim, but the new buyer had no intention of going through official channels. The rebuild took place in a 6,000 square foot shop in Royce City, Texas, over a period of roughly 2 years. The restoration team, led by a mechanic who had previously rebuilt flood-damaged Lamborghinis and Ferraris for Middle Eastern export clients, stripped the car to its bare monocoque. Every electronic module was removed, cleaned ultrasonically in a deionized water bath, dried in a vacuum oven at 60 degrees Celsius for 72 hours, and individually bench-tested. 9 of the 11 ECUs were recoverable. The 2 that were not, the main engine management unit and the transmission control module, were sourced from a crashed Veyron in Germany at a combined cost of $74,000. The W16 engine required a complete teardown. The 4 hydro-locked cylinders had bent connecting rods, and the salt corrosion had pitted the cylinder walls beyond honing tolerance, so the entire short block was replaced with a used unit from a Veyron that had suffered a rear-end collision in Dubai. That engine block alone cost $58,000, shipped via air freight from the United Arab Emirates to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in a custom crate weighing 410 kilograms. The transmission, a Ricardo-designed 7-speed dual-clutch unit that Bugatti had developed specifically for the Veyron's torque output of 922 pound-feet, was disassembled, inspected, and found to be functional after replacement of its solenoid pack and clutch plates, a $31,000 parts bill. The 4 turbochargers were cleaned and rebalanced at a turbo specialty shop in Houston for $8,200. Each of the 10 radiators was flushed with a citric acid solution, pressure tested to 2.5 bar, and reinstalled. The total cooling system service, including new hoses and a replacement for the roof-mounted oil cooler, cost $12,600. The carbon fiber body panels were sent to a composite repair facility in North Carolina, where technicians rebonded delaminated sections using vacuum-infused epoxy at 120 degrees Celsius curing temperature. 6 panels were repairable. The front bumper cover and both rocker panels had to be sourced new from Bugatti's parts division in Molsheim at $23,000 for the set, with a 12-week lead time. Interior restoration consumed 5 months of the total build time. The original leather, sourced from a single herd of Scottish cattle to minimize hide variation, was beyond recovery. The salt had hardened and cracked it within days of submersion. The rebuild team commissioned a retrim from a custom leather shop in Dallas using Italian Poltrona Frau hides, matched to Bugatti's original colorway using a spectrophotometer to ensure the pigment fell within 2% of factory specification. The seats, door card, center console, and headliner were all reskinned for $27,000. The instrument cluster was rebuilt with new stepper motors and a replacement LCD panel sourced from a Veyron parts-out car in Japan for $9,400. The wiring harness, over 12 miles of copper cabling running through the car, was tested circuit by circuit with a time domain reflectometer, and 36 individual wire segments showing impedance anomalies were spliced and resoldered. When the car finally started under its own power for the first time since the plunge, the total documented parts and labor cost of the restoration had reached approximately $390,000, bringing the all-in investment to roughly $667,000. The restored Veyron reappeared on the enthusiast market in late 2015, listed through a specialty dealer in Houston at $798,000. It sold within 3 weeks. The buyer, based in Southern California, was reportedly made fully aware of the car's history, the fraud, the submersion, the rebuild, and purchased it with a clean rebuilt Texas title. The car has since been spotted at several private track events and appeared in at least one online video review, running and driving without apparent mechanical issues. Bugatti's official position has always been that any Veyron submerged in salt water is beyond factory restoration, and the Molsheim service department will not accept such vehicles for warranty or maintenance work. The car that Andy House drove into Lake Galveston to collect a fraudulent insurance payout now exists in a specific category of automotive object. Fully functional, meticulously rebuilt, permanently marked by a provenance that makes it simultaneously worth less than any comparable Veyron, and more famous than nearly all of them. Its VIN carries a federal fraud notation that will follow it through every future title transfer in every state that participates in the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System. The Pelican, of course, was never found,